Hey, hi, hello, what's up? My name is Megan. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing a review of a Pat McGrath palette. The one that I have is Midnight Sun. I thought with her new launch it would be fun to review the palette that I have. I purchased this a while ago, but I had not used it yet. So I really wanted to dig in, play with that, formulate my thoughts, and get a review out there. I haven't heard of much inconsistency in her formulations, so I'm thinking that the review of this will be able to speak to the formula of the palette and help you guys with purchasing decisions as far as the upcoming launch, or it already has launched now at this point. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to get my thoughts up about this palette in this video. I did not include swatches, but I will be doing a get ready with me eye look only. I will be inserting several photos and video footage of me using the eyeshadows. This is my fourth look with the palette, so I feel comfortable giving my full review at this point. If that sounds fun to you, be sure to stay tuned. Also, don't forget to subscribe before you leave and ring the bell so that you're notified of all my future uploads. And of course, give this video a big thumbs up. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, friends, so let's just go ahead and let's dive right into this video. Like I mentioned, I am reviewing the Pat McGrath Midnight Sun palette. This retails, if you're unfamiliar with Pat McGrath, which this is my first palette from her, so I've really just spent the last week trying the formulations, doing different looks. They will all be linked in here so you can see all the looks I've done and all the things that I'm about to talk about. This isn't a first impressions. This is like a thorough review, so that I hope you enjoy. Those are the ones that I like to watch personally. This palette reviews for, wow, I wish I could talk. This palette retails for $120. I was able to snag this on sale for $88, which is still a really steep price point in my opinion. But I know a lot of people that love Pat McGrath and rave about her formula, so I thought for an on-sale price, I was going to go ahead and pick it up and try it out. So that's what we're going to be working with today. The first comment I have, I'm going to be starting out priming my eyes today with my Urban Decay All-Nighter Potion Primer. If you have been here on my channel for a while, you know that I am panning the concealed shade. Actually, let me move you guys on a little bit here. Hello. But yeah, I am panning the concealed shade in my Huda Beauty palette, which has given me no issues with any other eyeshadows until these. So that's why I'm using my Urban Decay Potion Primer, because I experienced less creasing with this. When I used the other primer, which is more, well, in my opinion, it's more reminiscent of a concealer when you're priming. So if you prime with a concealer, you would probably have this same issue. But I experienced a lot of creasing. Like, I am talking, my makeup was not on my eyes by the end of the day. I'm actually going to insert a video right over here of this, because I feel like people are going to push back kind of, because I know Pat McGrath, there's some stance. But so what I did was take a video over on Instagram to show everyone, like, the creasing was insane. I don't think I've ever had an eyeshadow crease that bad. As you can see, it's literally, there's nothing left on my eye, you guys. Like, it's insanity. So yeah, there was a lot of creasing. So if you're gonna pick this up, I would recommend using a legitimate eyeshadow primer. I had like a small crease with this, but nothing in comparison to the days before. You also might be wondering why I am setting my lids with a translucent powder. I'm using the one from Milani. I never do this because I never have to do this. And this will be a first. I'm trying out a different way to apply the shadows, but I was just applying the shadows on top of my primer like I do with every other palette in my collection. And I have been experiencing a lot of patchiness. So someone suggested to me to use a translucent primer, and that could potentially help with the amount of patchiness I'm getting from these shadows. So that's what I'm trying today. I'm going to go in with this brown shade here to start. In my personal opinion, for $120, I shouldn't have to be reaching into any other palettes, in my opinion. I mean, why am I paying $120 for a palette that needs other shades and formulations to complement it? That is just insanity in my book. I'm also having to use a different mirror because the way this sits up, it's not, I would have to hold it like this to be able to see like my eye, like it doesn't open enough to get a good like view of the eye. But yeah, I'm just going in with this and blending it. I will go ahead and attach some other footage of earlier this week using this shade and this deep shade here and the patchiness that I experienced with those shades. I actually went in with this brown shade first. It was pretty patchy. Build it up with the deep shade on the outer. It was super patchy, literally taking itself off. So I removed all my makeup and I started over. I went in with the deeper shade. I built up with the lighter shade and it still looked like absolute shit. I've never had so many problems with an eyeshadow, you guys. Sorry, I'm just like looking in this mirror because it's like I said, it's so hard for me to see because I can't use this mirror in here. But it looked like absolute shit. And you can say it's me, I don't know what I'm doing, but I think you'd be lying to yourself. Because it's funny now, the people that have like raved about Pat McGrath have been like, oh yeah, I've experienced creasing, but they don't talk about that on their feed. Or they'll post a picture talking about how good it is, but then like their makeup looks patchy as fuck. So I'm like, you know, kind of take it at what you will, I guess. But that's why I'm attaching the photos so that you guys can visually see the experience that I had with these. I will say it is blending out much better today now that I have set my eyes with a translucent powder. But again, I just think that that's something extra that's kind of ridiculous considering how much I fucking paid for it, you know? But whatever. Next, I'm looking for a more small define brush because I'm going to do a halo eye with the orange shade and the purple shade. I thought that'd be really pretty. Match my little dress situation. I have used every shade in this palette, so that's what I was saying. It's a full-blown review. Like, I've already done the groundwork. So I'm going to go in with the purple shade right here and start applying that on the inner and outer. And I don't know, you guys. I'm honestly like, this color story is insanely gorgeous. That's why I picked it up. It's one of the only Pat McGrath palettes to ever call to me or tempt me. I need to scoot this mirror in because I'm like, but it's literally the only one. And so I picked it up. And I will say, formula-wise, so far, the best performing ones have been this green here. And then, nope, that creased really bad. This green here, and then this topper. The first look that I did with this palette, I'll go ahead and attach it now. That's when I used the green and I used that really beautiful silver topper. I loved that look and I had absolutely no issues with either of those shadows. I had pretty mild creasing at the end of the day, which still really isn't typical for me. but I had mild creasing. It was something that I figured I could fix with my Urban Decay Potion Primer. So I wasn't too concerned about that. Held up throughout, applied well, wasn't patchy. I kid you not, if you were in my Instagram stories, then you heard me. I was literally like, oh my gosh, I'm literally gonna have a problem. Like, I'm gonna want all the Pat McGrath palettes because they're so good. Like, I was like, wow, people are right. I'm like, I'm getting it. I am getting the hype. However, that was day 1. Day 2, I used this shade, and this shade. This shade here was extremely patchy. I did not take any photos of it, but I did take my makeup off and I did it a second time. I never have to do that. I don't really have time to do that. I work a full-time job and that's not something that I set time aside for in the morning, but it literally just looked so bad that I was like, well, I'm just going to wipe it off real quick and start over, which is just crazy to me for the price. So those 3 shades, yeah, there was creasing. It wasn't like super severe, but there was more creasing than day 1. And then, as I mentioned, that maroon shade was creasing on me. So then day 3, which I'll put the footage up again so you guys can see. Day 3 is when I went in with this little I went in with this shade, and then it looked so bad that I topped everything with this shade. That is the day that I removed it, redid it, still hated it, super patchy, and I'll attach the videos of how patchy that it was. Like, I was so mad when I left the house for work because I was like, my makeup looks like shit. And look how much I'm having to like build this up, you guys. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I've been building for literally ever. I was like, I don't want to ruin it though and take 2 dents of a brush and then for some reason the eyeshadow get mad at me. Like, this palette is just so finicky in my personal opinion so far. But yeah. So the 3rd day when I did that look is when I experienced the heavy creasing where my makeup literally was not even present on my eyes. It looked so bad. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh. And I met with a client looking like that. I was so mad. But yeah, so that's kind of been my experience so far. Like I mentioned, the only shades I haven't used in this are these 2. And this one, I'm probably going to use this as an inner corner highlight today. And I'm doing a halo eye with these. So let's focus on that. And then I'll go ahead and give my overall thoughts because already this video is like so long. But like, I just have a lot to say, which is why I didn't want to do it just on my IG because I really wanted to talk about it. I really wanted to show you all so you can see how it performed, what struggles I was having. You guys, I literally cleaned my brushes thinking it was my brushes. Honestly, I just had a really hard time with it. So yeah, I know a lot of people like it, but it was not working for me. It was not. Now I'm going to take a more like defined brush like this. I'm going to get some setting spray out and I'm going to go ahead and dig into this shade here. I'm going to dig into it and I'm going to wet it and then I'm going to apply it on the middle of my eye. This is another technique that I always use. And I mean, even just on Instagram, I had a lot of people coming into my DMs and being like, you know, well, you're not doing it right. You're not using the right brushes, all of these things. And I'm not a professional MUA. Like, I'm not, and I've never claimed to be. However, I do my makeup on an almost daily basis. I've tried a lot of fucking makeup because I love makeup. So I feel like I've, got the experience to create a basic look. and it just wasn't coming together. So I wholeheartedly do not think that it's on me. I don't think it's my error. I think it's the palette, because I don't have those kinds of experiences even with $10 palettes. And I'm gonna go in with my finger here because it's not really, the brush isn't transferring the shadow, and it's not really picking up. So that's another thing too, if you're a brush person, because I know some people are strictly brushes. They don't like to use their fingers to do their makeup. These topper shades, the orange and the silver one, you will not be able to pick that up with your brush. These are also just kind of like chunky. I didn't do any swatches. One, because I'm not good at swatching. Two, they didn't swatch well. So I was like, let's just skip that part. But yeah, the shade is super pretty. We are going to a banquet tonight. So really hoping that this doesn't get all creasy and crappy like the other looks. Otherwise, I'm gonna look ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, the shades are all really pretty. They just, at the end of the day, don't have long wear time or the blendability that I'm looking for in a palette. And yeah, I have better ones. So why justify that price if there's stuff I don't like, It's crazy to me. I'm gonna wipe my hands off, and then I'm gonna just take a little bit more of that purple shade. I'm really gonna like swirl my brush around in there to hopefully get it nice and coated. And bring it back around just to make sure we have some of that still coming through. Yeah, and I think that it looks really nice so far. I mean, we'll obviously just see how it wears depending on what time we get home, and if I'm sober enough, I'll check back in and attach it at the end of the video. But if not, then you know what happened. Could come over a little. But okay, well, what I'm going to do is I am going to pop out. I'm going to finish the rest of my look, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you guys the rest of my thoughts, or my overall thoughts on this palette, and if I would recommend it or not. So be sure to stay tuned. Okay, so I'm back, and this is the finished look. I'll probably attach some closer shots over here so you can see a little bit better. And yeah, this is the finished look. I think it matches the outfit really well. It looks nice. I'll see how it wears throughout the night. Overall thoughts though on this palette, the patchiness that I experienced from the shadows was unlike any other patchiness I've legitimately ever experienced, because I've experienced palettes that have a little bit of patchiness, but this was just on another level. So I know I would never reach for the mattes in this palette. And I know that I'm too lazy to pull out a loose powder that I like just have this for just in case. I don't even use loose powder on my face. To pull this out, to set my lids with this instead of a shadow in the palette, like, I just know that I won't do that. And then just the creasing, that was next level for me too. I've never experienced that kind of creasing. It was just, in my opinion, on another level. Because of that, I also know I wouldn't reach for this palette, because I would always be worried, is my eyeshadow even still on my eyes? Like, I don't know. And I work long days, sometimes always 8 hours pretty much, but usually anywhere from that 8 to 12 mark. I never really know. And the last thing I want to be worried about is my shadows still on my lids. The really standout shades to me, like I mentioned earlier, was this beautiful green. I'll tell you right now, I probably have 5 or 6 dupes for that in my collection. The only formulations that I don't really have is going to be this one and this one. Those would be really unique to my collection. But here's the thing, indie brands are on a whole nother level these days. And honestly, I would rather just purchase something similar from an indie brand at this point, because this palette as a whole didn't work for me. I feel like I would need a lot of other moving pieces to make it cohesive enough for me to use on a regular basis. And at the end of the day, I just don't have that kind of time. I want to be able to grab my palette and be able to do a look that I'm going to be confident with. And this just didn't do that for me. I actually... I had to not wear this for a day because I just could not take another day of bad eyeshadow. Like, it was terrible, you guys. If you're coming from Instagram, then you saw how terrible it was. I checked all the boxes. I made all the stops. I made changes in my eyeshadow routine, my technique. I rewashed my brushes. Like, I pulled out all the stops to make this work for me. But at the end of the day, I just got to accept it. It's not that good. It's not that good, you guys. I said it. It's not that good. I highly recommend that you save your money and you buy something else. There's no way I could recommend this. I did not have a good experience. I didn't have a mind-blowing experience. Now, some people, they just buy these for the experience of luxury makeup, the way that it makes them feel. If that's you, then go for it, girl. Go for it, man. Buy it. If you want to feel luxe, this will, $120. You should feel luxe. And if that's like what you're going for in makeup, then yeah, I definitely think go ahead, pick it up, whatever. But if you're looking for good quality eyeshadow to create looks that are going to last throughout the day and are high quality, you can achieve that with a drugstore palette. I could give you guys... Let me know in the comments. I can give you recommendations. DM me over on IG. I can give you multiple recommendations that are going to outperform this Pat McGrath palette. And honestly, I am so disappointed. I am so disappointed. I wanted to love this. Well, actually, I was back and forth. I wanted to love it because I paid for it, but I didn't want to love it because I didn't want to continue buying a bunch of them. But at the end of the day, it was just meh. Like, it was just... I don't even know if meh is the right word, because I was so frustrated with it that I hated it. It wasn't good at all, and I don't recommend it. I won't continue rambling because I could continue rambling because I'm so mad and so fed up with the week I've had with this palette. It definitely was not what I was expecting, and it makes me kind of sad. But yeah, I've made my decision. I was before trying to decide if I wanted to keep it in my collection or, if I wanted to list it. And honestly, I think I'm just going to go ahead and list it. I'm not going to use it. There's no point in it sitting around on my palette shelves where I know I will not use it, whereas someone else would use it. Maybe they would love it. Maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. Makeup is so personal to everyone, but someone else could get the opportunity to try it for like a fraction of the price. So yeah, this is a hard no for me. I'm going to list it. It won't be in my collection anymore. I do have still shots and stuff up on my Instagram if you guys want to check that out. But I really did just want to do a thorough review over here so that I could really chat about all the issues I had and show you guys all the issues I had. But yeah, if you love Pat McGrath, if you love her formula, go you. Like, I'm glad that it's working for you. I'm not trying to rip you down in any way. I know I don't have to do that disclaimer, but I feel like some people get a little butthurt. If that's your favorite, whoo, you go. I'm happy for you. But yeah, it's just not. I wouldn't recommend it. I would definitely take a pass. As always, if you enjoyed this type of video, please ensure to give it a big thumbs up or a like, or even if you just like me, just give it a like. But yeah, I'm gonna head out, you guys. I hope you have an incredible day, and I will see you in the next one.